Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Black Clover. Last time around we had light magic versus dark magic, where suddenly, as Lich was preparing to finish off everybody, Captain Yami stepped in and countered him with his dark magic. And we had a really fun fight between them, and as well as a good teaching moment for Asta, who learned about Ki and how to sense Ki, the different movements of the body and the energy that creates. That is separate from mana. And so it was a good teaching moment. And while Lich was able to cave in the cave that they were in, the boys did manage to make it out, and they are ready for round 2, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Black Clover. Here we go. I'm just going to assume they ran out of time last episode for that, so... Alright, we're good. We're good. That scared me. That scared me that we weren't going to have that, but we're good now. So... Does Gauche count as a distortion? Or an injustice? I would think he would. Him and Mari. It's an interesting thing that it's like, all of those attacks missed his vital organs. Now, there's no way that Lich couldn't hit him. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I think he purposefully missed. He can't bring himself to kill Gauche because he's one of the distortions, even if he is a magic knight now. He was one of the distortions. And okay, the distortions. Again, it's exactly the thing of but you're kind of undermining your message by, planting a bomb in Gotham, It's like you had this whole thing about society and the people and the injustices, and then you're just going to blow something up, and it's just like, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's like, we are the people who have been wronged, There is injustice in this world. There are those who live in poverty, while there are those who are, eating it up, basically. People who are suffering when they shouldn't, and oh boy, isn't that a salient message in 2025? But again, you're undermining some of your credibility by then stealing the magic from the children of, was it Neen? Whatever the town was. Those children did nothing to you. Mari did nothing to you, and Mari, she was originally one of the rich, but then she wasn't. She's going to live most of her life not. Did Rebecca's siblings deserve this? And it's like, look, you want a revolution, that's one thing. You want to rebel against the rich, that's one thing. I would ask you to leave out the Vermilions and Noelle, but I mean, look, we literally talked about that episodes ago. It was kind of jokingly, but we kind of talked about that episodes ago. Man, I'm ready for the French Revolution on these freaking nobles, the Silvas. They're terrible. The Silvas and that one guy from Golden Dawn, But at the same time, I get to keep Noelle. I get to keep Noelle. She's mine. You can't have her French Revolution. She's technically, I think she would be classified as a distortion. Yes, she lived this life of luxury, but at the same time, even she, faced prejudice from her own siblings because she cannot control her power, She has this immense pool of mana, but she cannot control it, you know? I mean, if anything, all of these crazy people that are in the Midnight Sun, honestly, they should have just joined the Black Bulls. Like, the Black Bulls are kind of everything that they're talking about. They are the outcasts. They are the misfits who have this immense power, but are sort of looked on differently by society, you know? I mean, just look at Asta. Asta is crazy powerful, despite not having magic. And because of that, none of the other captains even really looked at him, you know? They never truly considered him. Yami was like, okay, I could take this kid in. I could deal with this, you know? But he takes in, self-absorbed party boys and siscons and drunk women and delinquents and crazy kids and royals that can't use their own magic. And that's also because he's like that. You know? That's because he's like that too. And at least Lich, kind of acknowledges, okay, you're, he kind of acknowledges that Yami is a distortion too. And he must be able to see these distortions, you know? And I don't know. It's an interesting thing, you know? It's an interesting thing because on the one hand, it's yes, we should help these less fortunate. On the other hand, I also see it as you need to carve your own path. You need to forge your own road. And I guess they are doing that. It's just that is now threatening so many lives when it shouldn't, you know? This shouldn't be happening. There are innocent people, you know? I mean, because even, Noelle, who, yes, has looked down on some people, but even then, she hasn't done anything to warrant this, you know? She hasn't done anything to warrant this. I don't know, man. I just, you want to start class warfare, that's one thing, but I don't know, but at the same time, it's you're not spreading this message throughout. It's not it's not like it's Amon, let's say, in The Legend of Korra, where it's he's rallied the non-benders together, and then shit happened. That season kind of went off the rails, but whatever. But it's but that was still the thing. He rallied a lot of the people. You're not really rallying the people behind this. You're being terrorists, which doesn't really help at all. You're not going in and reworking the system from the ground up, you know? Now, granted, I guess, if he was a Magic Knight and he was kicked out, you know, then, maybe he tried and it didn't work. I don't know, it's I feel there are ways to do it without hurting the innocent, you know? I don't know, it really is a thing of, I understand, I fully understand where they are coming from with the villain motivation, but I don't agree with it because then they do villain things, you know? But I guess that's the point. I guess that's the point of most villains like that. But we did get more of Yami versus Lich, which was great. I like that. I like all of his immense power. All of their immense power. Just that fight was really good. So, and then I like him being Asta, I told you to go get that skinny dude with the lines on his face. Go do that. I told you to do it. I know you can do it. Go do it. So I like that, and I like too because it kind of mirrors the fight with Lich because because there's that moment where Lich is oh, you're wide open, but Yami did that specifically so that he would drop his guard and then he could attack, and that's what he did. And Asta basically did the exact same thing. Asta did the same thing where, in order to trick him, he threw his swords away, because then he knew that it's like, well, if I throw my swords away, he's going to get cocky. And he did. And he, it was like, well, then I'll put it all into this one attack. So then Asta just jumped through that portal and decked him, That was a great idea. That's a great idea. Because, it's the thing we kind of talked about in the Rhodes fight. It's like, yeah, your magic is great. I can still punch you, though. It's like, I don't know what it is, like, in all these grand magical battles, there is something hilarious and awesome when Asta just goes and just punches someone square in their face, So that was good. That was good. And then Lich starting his ultimate attack that, Yami could not deal with. It's an interesting thing, too, because it's like, they were pretty evenly matched throughout most of the fight. But, most likely Lich is stronger. But it's like, it's interesting. Now I'm thinking of power levels. I guess sneeze. No, I don't. Okay, never mind. But now I'm thinking of, like, power levels. Like, I would imagine Yami and Fuegoleon are probably about the same. Because, and Yami even says, like, the only way you were able to beat him like that was because you got in an underhanded attack, basically. And that's exactly what happened. So it's like, I imagine they're a little, they're pretty even. Lich is probably above. The thing I'm wondering, though, is Lich actually that powerful compared to Julius? Who he said is his ultimate enemy is Julius, But I don't know. I mean, considering when he did his attack, Julius was left completely unscathed. Like, he did not get him at all, and he completely wrecked his arm. So, I don't know. I think if we do get a full Julius versus Lich fight, it is, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like Gojo, where it's like, well, we have to deal with Gojo because none of us can actually beat Gojo, and then they do that. But how do you deal with the Wizard King? Well, how do you deal with Gojo? I guess it's a similar thing. If they're gonna figure out a way, they better do it. Oh boy. And then I did like, I like this. I mean, this show's so great. I love it sort of playing with your expectations a little bit, but in a good way, where it's just like, this dramatic scene is like she's like Baron Zeppeli giving up her power for Gauche, and it's just like, no, don't die, bring her back to life, and then just the music stops, and he's just like, she's alive. It's just like, oh, it's like, no, she's alive. She's just resting. So that was funny. But yeah, apparently you can give someone your magic. Now, I'm assuming he doesn't have their powers. It's just like a transfer of mana. Like a transfer of energy, So that's really interesting. It's also interesting, I'm also assuming Mari also has fire magic, which is interesting. Like, her magic is not anywhere similar to Gauche's, but they gave him their magic, and then I do love that, because I was just like, is he just going to reverse the attack? And it's like, sure enough, light is always reflected by a mirror. That's hilarious, And Yami knew. Yami kind of knew. He was just kind of holding out, like, it might come back. Ghost might come back, and if he does, then it'll be fine. So, just full reflection, just a reversing mirror, just bounce it back. Magic cylinder! Oh, so that was good. And that kicked the shit out of him, too. Holy crap. I mean, yeah, there was like a final flash or a Kamehameha just, like, getting blasted by literally your attack at full power. Like, oof. That was rough. So, the show's so good, man. The show's so good. It is interesting, because it's every standard shonen thing that you could possibly think of, but it's just presented in a good way, It's just like, here, we're going to do all the things that you want us to do, And we're just going to do that. And that's great, It's like, we have this dramatic moment, it's like, oh, but we don't want, Sister Teresa to die. And it's like, she doesn't. It's like, oh, all right, cool. Yay! Good! You know? Even like this fight, it's like, you know, there were a lot of serious moments, but at the same time, Yami, he's just so freaking cool. It's just like, wow, this is bad. Like, we're not going to be able to take this attack. So plant your feet and hope for the best, but we're not going to be able to get out of this attack. He's like, I don't know, he's just so frank about everything, you know? So, I don't know. This show's really good. I really enjoy it, so. But yeah, that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Black Clover reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.